It's another special edition of the One More and I'm Out of Here podcast coming to you from the Illegal Shift studio. It's One More and I'm Out of Here. Sounded good.
That did sound good.
Hi, everyone. I'm Dan Carroll. Saturday afternoon, first day of, well, not technically the first day of summer, but Memorial Day weekend, I guess you got to say, really is when summertime starts.
It's the first day of our summer. It's when our pool opens.
That's right. That's where we should be right now.
I know. We're dedicated. We're dedicated.
We are dedicated to our viewers, our listeners, and we thank everyone who is here watching the show. Jason, I'm going to tell you something you probably didn't know.
Uh-oh.
All right.
There's a lot. I mean, that's a very wide blanket.
I'm putting this in the category right now of things you didn't know. Okay. And I didn't know until just moments ago. I am going to read a dispatch from the President of the United States.
Uh-oh.
Came out a couple hours ago.
Buckle up.
He wrote this on his X feed. George Floyd should be alive. He deserves so much more. Today, I join all those who loved him and were touched by the civil rights movement he inspired. In remembering the tragedy and injustice of his death, he changed the world. Now let's act in his memory. Are you kidding?
I'm fucking speechless.
That's the President of the United States. So it wasn't enough.
He's comparing him to fucking Martin Luther King, for fuck's sakes.
It wasn't enough that on Easter Sunday he declared it Transgender Awareness Day or some shit like that.
Which had been around, but on Easter Sunday, probably not.
So this is becoming a pattern. Are we seeing a pattern here? Easter Sunday? No, it's transgender, recognition or awareness, whatever the fuck day it was.
Oh, geez.
Now we have the beginning of the Memorial Day weekend. Well, let's remember George Floyd on this day. What a douchebag this guy is.
And his wording. Whoever.
Absolute. Well, someone wrote it
whoever
for
wrote
God's
it,
sake.
His wording comparing him to Martin Luther King. The guy fucking punched a pregnant lady and was a drug addict and a drug dealer.
Our buddy Zeke Arkham had a nice response to this.
What the fuck? What's Zeke say?
Zeke Arkham wrote, so the moral of the story is you can be a repeat felon who committed armed robbery, held a gun to a pregnant woman's stomach.
Well, that's what he did. I'm sorry. I misspoke.
And did drugs, eventually dying from a drug overdose while in police custody. If Democrats think they can get some traction off your corpse, you'll get a biopic made in your honor. Yeah, they're also talking about doing a George Floyd movie, by the way.
Oh, boy.
But if you work hard, put yourself through school, obey the law, and preach that black folks aren't victims, you'll be excoriated and called a coon.
I love Zeke. Oh my God, I love Zeke.
And so he says, got it. So that is Zeke's take on all this memorial to George Floyd bullshit. That is happening. That is happening in our country as we speak.
I did not see.
That is how sick and depraved these people really are.
Well, to be honest with you, I mean, I honestly think that that's gonna garner him some votes, but it's gonna push a lot of votes out because we've seen over the last couple of years, because it's been 4 years now, people have started to fucking turn because they're actually reading some of the stuff that went down with George Floyd. And actually being educated and understanding versus what the mainstream media is pushing out as to what that whole endeavor was. And you go and you put that, you let your, and again, somebody's writing it for him. He's not writing it. Let's be honest. He doesn't even know how to turn a fucking computer on.
Yeah.
Get on social media. What a fucking joke.
Some of the responses to this are pretty good. This one guy writes, Paul Zippola, Laken Riley should be alive. She deserves so much more.
Exactly.
I'm going to say 100% on that right there.
100%. Ups to.
Let's see. Here's another good response. He was a convicted felon, held a gun to a pregnant woman's belly, demanded money for drugs, was a junkie, a massive piece of shit. Why would you martyrize him? Here's George Floyd's autopsy report, which shows he died of a fentanyl overdose. He was a bum.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Here's another good one. David Dorn, who was murdered during the George Floyd riots, who was a retired police captain, fatally shot during a burglary at a pawn shop. Where's the Memorial Day for him?
Exactly.
Why don't we celebrate that guy's life instead of this thug, repeat felon, armed robber, drug eating douchebag?
How about the president of the United States? It is, granted, I know Memorial Day is Monday, but it's Memorial Day weekend. Everybody refers to it as Memorial Day weekend. Why are you pulling that bullshit up?
Mm-hmm.
You should be preaching all weekend about the soldiers that we've lost to give us what we have now. And I love the quotes in the social media stuff of, this is why you have a 3-day weekend, and it's, soldiers just busting their ass or whatever. Why I understand today's the anniversary of him. I get it. But that was 4 fucking years ago. And what did he do when that happened? What happened, Dan?
I think we saw massive riots, weeks of rioting across the country, billions in dollars of property damage, dozens of people killed, lives, businesses, livelihoods completely destroyed, cities completely shut down, mass chaos
across the country.
And we saw those actions being supported by Democrats almost across the board. And we know that Kamala Harris was one of those who was encouraging people to donate to a fund that was going to bail these people out of jail.
Right.
So, they're just, it's completely disgusting.
It's Memorial Day weekend, and this is a time that we honor the fallen soldiers that have fought for us. Not this piece of shit.
Yeah, it's a total piece of shit. Here's a Sassafras 84. Good response here. Never forget what George Floyd was really all about. The media and the left have made George Floyd into a martyr, but who was he really? 1988, 10 months in prison for armed robbery. 2002, 8 months for cocaine. 2004, 10 months in prison for cocaine. 2005, 10 months in prison for cocaine. 2007, 5 years for armed robbery of a pregnant woman in her home. When he was killed, he was high on meth, getting ready to drive a car and possibly wreck that car and kill somebody else.
Yeah.
So that's what your president, Joe Biden, wants us all to do today, is take time to reflect on that fucking scumbag.
How about
I think we've done enough of it for one.
How about the record-breaking numbers of Trump in the Bronx, where they were expecting 5,000 to 7,000 and ended up being over 30.
Well, it was a beautiful thing, and that's such a contrast, because all these people know how to do is try and pander to black people. They think they're going to get political traction out of this. They think that, oh yeah, look, here's a dead black guy. Joe Biden says we should remember him. Let's go out and vote for him. So when Joe Biden speaks to a black audience, he talks about black men being killed in the streets. You've got to work 10 times harder. Just all the same tired old rhetoric that they throw out there all the time. And black people, by and large, are waking up to the fact that these people ain't doing shit for them.
I've got a question for you. I mean, we've talked, and I've said it multiple times. All the politicians are liars, all of them. But you grab onto what you want to grab onto, and obviously, you and I are both in the same camp. Accept other people's opinions, but you have to explain your opinion to make me understand it, right? But do you think Joe Biden, when he goes, all right, so Donald Trump was here in Cincinnati, last week and a half ago, whatever it was, for a big fundraising event in one of our affluent neighborhoods. And I honestly feel, and I could be completely wrong on this, but I honestly feel like Donald Trump, what we see, the layperson, I honestly feel like that's what you get. He doesn't give a shit. This is a stance I'm taking, and I'm not going to pander to who the donors are or whatever. But do you honestly think that if Joe Biden were to have come in, just flip-flop Trump and Biden, and you've got a bunch of rich white dudes, do you think he's going to be talking about George Floyd during that, that dinner engagement, that fundraising speech? I honestly think, like, whatever Trump, what he's thinking and what he's saying, I honestly feel like to the donors that go there, he still does that. But it seems like Biden, I mean, fuck, he's been a Puerto Rican, he's been a black. I mean, he's been every nationality. I don't know if he said American Indian yet, but
yeah, he was raised in the Catholic Church. He was raised in the temples.
But
he was
raised. But do you think Donald Trump panders that way? Like an honest answer?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
I know when the most pandering he does is whether he's in New York or he's in Nebraska or he's in Ohio. He'll say, "Hey, I love Ohio. You guys are great patriots. You work hard. You know what you're doing." The pandering level that he's at is he's telling whatever audience he's in front of, he tells them they're the great, they're the greatest, they're the best. They work hard. They know this is why America's great because of you people. That's pretty much the level of pandering that you get from Donald Trump. And then he talks about all the other stuff. And so when he was in New York the other night, he talked about, and he's from New York. Grew up his whole life living there. So he was
gonna die.
No, I didn't take my allergy pills today. He was telling authentic New York stories. And I'll give you another example. Biden was speaking at West Point today. I mean, what an absolute disgrace! What an absolute disgrace! And he goes out and tells the story, the debunked, fake, false, and phony story of how he was appointed to the Naval Academy.
Can you email it to me?
And he was going to go play football there. Do you want to email that soundbite?
Yeah, email it and then.
All right, let's see here. I'll copy the video address and then I'll go into my email.
No. So we're going to step by step.
And then I'll compose to Kiefer.
But the reason I asked that question is I honestly don't think that all politicians are going to pander a little bit, because they want the money, they want the donor money and everything else. But I honestly think that Trump stands by his convictions of what he really thinks this country should be, where he wants it to be, and where he thinks we want it to be. And not everybody agrees with that, and I get that. But Biden is just so far off the spectrum this way. He's like a windshield wiper. And again, like I said, he was a Puerto Rican. He grew up with Puerto Ricans. He did this. He did that.
Yeah. I mean,
Trump has always stood by his fucking stance of just, we're going to make America great again.
Yeah.
We're draining the swamp. We're doing this. And he did it. He fucking did it. I know the economy, the stock market and shit, they're throwing the numbers. It's up. I get it. But also, we're coming right out of a pandemic where people are scrambling to try to recoup money that they fucking lost. So it's not fucking Joe Biden's fucking work. You look at everything that's going on with his whole electric vehicle bullshit. But I honestly don't think that Donald Trump just will sit there and, because you're sitting here, hey, I agree with your view.
Mm-hmm.
Could completely disagree. Yeah, I agree. I don't do a good Donald Trump impression, or I would try to have done it then. But
there's very few people who do a really good Donald Trump impression.
Oh, I follow a guy on TikTok though. He's fucking hilarious. Lives down in Florida. He's always on his fucking boat. He's got fucking music blaring, like Kid Rock and shit. And he, dude, he is so good. He's so good. I can't remember his name offhand. All right, you email it to me. All right, you keep talking for a second. I will pull this up.
Yeah, so
because I'm curious about this. You brought it up right before we started, so I did.
Yeah, about Biden being at West Point. And so if you go to West Point, which is where the Army Academy is, why would you tell a story about, I was appointed to the Naval Academy? Why would you do that?
Because he forgot.
I guess he's trying.
He forgot where he was.
I guess he's trying to, and that's what he does in front of every group he's in.
All right, I'm gonna play it.
Yeah, I was Hispanic. I was this. I was that.
Hypothetically, I was appointed by the fellow I ran against when I was 29 years old to the Naval Academy. I was one of 10.
That's a lot.
I wanted to play football. And the day I was supposed to go down for the interview, a classmate of mine who was also one of the 10 appointed to be chosen from, named Steve Dunning, came to pick me up. And I had found out 2 days earlier they had a quarterback named Roger Staubach and a halfback named Joe Bellino. I said, I'm not going there.
Yeah, that's right.
I went to Delaware. Not a joke. Hypothetically, I was appointed by
Yeah, whenever he says not a joke, it is a joke, and it's a lie.
Between not a joke and here's the deal, man. I love those. God. Moron.
So sick of that guy, man.
Complete moron.
I really am.
I'm glad you pulled that though. I didn't realize that.
Yeah, but the Trump rally in the Bronx the other day, I was watching some of the video. I mean, people out there, music was playing. They were dancing. They were, there were people doing skits. People were speaking. They were having a great time. A great time. And how often is it that you can get that many people together in any of the boroughs in New York City, and there's no violence, no fights? As far as I know, the place was pretty well cleaned up after they left.
I'm trying to remember who it was. It wasn't AOC that was. I mean, she was pissed off. I saw enough of her, but there was somebody else that was like, "Well, that park's only regulated for like 10,000 people," and it ended up being like 25 or 30, and then wanted to fucking charge Trump. Like wanted to put him up on charges.
Oh my God, because he had too big of a crowd.
Yeah.
Then the left would have to admit how big his crowd really was. Right. They did that
exactly,
but they don't want to do that
because you didn't see shit happen after it. Morons.
All right, so that's pretty much my bitch for the day right there. Because I just saw that right before we went on.
That was a good
started
bitch,
the
though.
podcast, but for God's sake, I mean, why can't they just leave it? I mean, that's the thing. When Trump would never put out a statement like that as president. What? Today's Honor George Floyd Day? I don't think so. Not going to do that.
No.
But today's transgender, celebration day or celebration month. No, I'm not putting out a statement.
What he would do was mean tweet. He'd mean tweet and put some stupid. I mean, and I'm a Trump supporter, but he put stupid shit out on Twitter. But that's on his Twitter. He's not putting it out as an official fucking statement.
Yeah, but that's see, I've always thought that was a problem when they first started with social media. That, to my way of thinking,
tab aid.
Tab aid. Shit. Well, to my way of thinking,
I haven't gotten a single fucking tab in this whole podcast.
Whatever is put out on Twitter by the president or whoever writes it from him should automatically not be considered official government policy.
I agree with that.
If something is going to be official government policy, it ought to be done through the normal channels that you do that sort of thing, not social media. So, and I thought those ground rules should have been established a long time ago.
No, you're not. Yeah, you're definitely not wrong with that.
Just because I'm putting out something on social media just means what I think about something, or it's my reaction to something. Official government policy, that comes through the normal means. By which that happens.
No, I agree, but I mean I love the social media memes where it's do you miss the mean tweets yet and whatever because with the bullshit we're dealing with now. But no, I agree, like because that went out on Biden's Twitter. The president shouldn't have a fucking Twitter account. The president shouldn't have any social media, in my opinion. Purely my opinion, they shouldn't have any social media. It goes through your press secretary or your publicist or whatever, and it comes from them. Now, if I'm the president and you're my person that puts shit out, I'm like, hey, I want you to say this. Ugh, I don't know if I should. Just put it out. But you put it out under you. Talked with the president. Here's a synopsis. Because that way, I mean, it gives right, wrong, or indifferent. It gives a little bit of leeway either way, whether it's Joe Biden or Donald Trump. Fair across the board. But when they have their own social media feeds, it gets so misconstrued because we all both know that Joe Biden is not getting on Twitter.
Oh, hell no. Writing. Hell no, he's not.
I honestly feel that Donald Trump was getting on Twitter and doing his own shit. And I'm sure his fucking cabinet was going, what the fuck are you doing?
I know. That was the thing.
But that's the difference
when that stuff was coming up.
I
remember sitting there saying, I wish Trump would have someone put these out for him and not fight, because he would have a there's a word for it when you just start bombarding a whole bunch of tweets out, and he would do it 2:00 in the morning, 2:30 in the morning. You'd get up in the morning and there'd be a whole list of tweets that he put out, and the news felt obligated to read them all. But I just thought,
David J said 100%. He said his buzz is dying. I got to fix it here. 100%.
But that horse was let out of the barn a long time ago, and so
we're in a different age than we were. Rewind George W. Bush. Twitter was just kind of coming about, like starting to grab its legs and run.
Yeah,
it's all different now. So, but I honestly think that they should not have any personal social media. You have maybe the office of the president of the United States as one blanket. I don't know. I don't know what the right answer is, but I know I would bet a paycheck that fucking Joe Biden's not sitting there going chicken pecking the fucking phone or the computer to put that shit out. Somebody's putting it out.
Someone's putting it out for him.
But I think
there's no doubt about that.
But I think Trump's just as much of an arrogant asshole to fucking do it himself. I like the mean tweets personally, but all right,
man, just words, that's all.
But apparently it's not just words. People get really, really mad.
Yes, they do.
Let's jump on the shit that went viral. Just kind of funny off the politics stuff. this fucking guy, Contestant, goes viral for.
I guess I got to start watching that show a little more often.
I won't watch it. It just reminds me too much of my grandparents. I just don't have any desire to watch it. But one of the quotes in this article is, "Will be played for eternity," because it absolutely fucking will. So I'll read. I'm sure most of you guys saw it if you're listening or if you're watching. But Wheel of Fortune might have made history on Thursday for one of the most mystifying answers ever given by a contestant. Things got X-rated on the family-friendly game show when a contestant named Tavares misidentified a popular phrase. Vanna White, as always, was on hand to reveal part of the phrase. The board read blank, 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 / I, blank, T, blank, E, / B, blank, blank, T, exclamation point. It's for the audio listeners.
You did that very, very nicely.
I tried.
I think they followed every
probably not
every word of that.
Probably not. They probably don't even listen to me talk anyway. But Tavares took a look at the game board quickly, buzzing in that he had the answer. Right in the butt, he said with confidence, until fellow contestant Tyra on the opposite side of the stage audibly expressed her bewilderment. The audience collectively guffawed. I've never seen that word before.
That's another term for
at the awkward
laughter,
moment.
Yeah.
And she exclaimed, "What?" So I have video, and I don't know if this might get us kicked. I don't know. but I'm going to play.
I don't know. Saying in the butt is really not all that bad. They said it on network television.
No, the fact that I'm playing just a Wheel of Fortune cut.
Yeah, but it's a short one.
No, I think it's absolutely hilarious.
Pat Sajak's going to be gone before too long.
Yep. Here we go.
Tavares, right in the butt?
What?
No.
The facial expression that he had is what got me. Because like I read it and I'm like, oh, okay, that's funny. Because I mean, you'll hear occasionally over the years, you'll see something different, or oh shit, I didn't even see that one in there. but when he literally like just stopped, but the actual the actual phrase was, "This is the best." So the audio listeners, obviously, I'm assuming have probably.
I'm not good at Wheel of Fortune. I wouldn't have got. I don't think I would have got it with just the 4 blanks, the I.
Yeah, I probably
another blank. I would have got but I don't think I would have got.
I could have gotten is, or depending.
Yeah, right in the butt.
But looking at it and just how viral that went. I mean, I was on Facebook. I saw it. I was on Instagram. I saw it. I was on TikTok. I saw it. I'm like, we have to talk about it a little bit. But I mean, can you imagine? And the look on his face right here.
Yeah.
Right after he said it. Because this is right after he said it.
That's classic.
Oh, my God. And can you imagine the ridicule once he went home? Friends, family going, are you shitting me?
Well, I mean, it's, if you're, let's say you're at a baseball game and you're playing third base or shortstop or something, and a wild, bouncing ground ball comes in and you're trying to, range to your left to field it, and it takes a crazy bounce, and where did it hit you? Right in the butt. I mean, that's a phrase. People say that all the time.
I get it. No, I mean, I don't fault the guy.
Yeah.
I probably would have went right there too. Just with the
where'd you get shot when you were in the war? Right in the butt.
Forrest Gump said it.
Yeah, in the buttocks. Forrest Gump got shot right in the butt.
With the way my mind works, that's probably exactly where I would have went.
There was a game show on that was probably before your time.
I was going to bring this up.
The Newlywed Game.
Rob would bring this up all the time.
Yeah, and the host of the Newlywed Game was, I can't remember his name.
Is it Bobby Eubanks?
Yes, Bobby Eubanks.
Before my time,
nice
but
one.
I still know it.
You pulled that one out. And the question was, what's the wide or the weirdest place you ever made whoopee?
Yep.
Right. They
instead
of saying having sex or making love, they make whoopee. And the one girl,
it was a dude. It was a dude.
No, it was a girl who said it.
I thought it was a dude.
No,
I'll have to go back and find it.
Well, it was the men answer the question, right? And then they write down the response on the cards, and then their spouses come out and see if they can match their answers, and that's how you get points. And so when it was the girl's turn to answer, in the butt, Bob. My husband likes to. Shit.
All right, here, hold on. We'll show
you.
I was going to bring that up, and I'm glad you did.
Are you going to play it?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
YouTube. It's on YouTube, so I'm allowed to play it, I think.
Sure. Why not?
Turnabout is fair play.
We're on YouTube.
Quit fucking
all part of the same big fan.
Quit banishing us.
Girls, tell me where specifically is the weirdest place that you personally, girls, have ever gotten the urge to make whoopee?
In the
No. It's no, what I'm talking about is the weirdest location, the weirdest place.
location.
Yeah.
I don't know.
They blocked it out.
He said it was in the car on the freeway.
Yeah, they blocked it out.
Oh man,
I don't know what year that was, but all right. So, but
that's like early 1970s.
But point well taken. Still talking about it. Here we are, 2024, still talking about it. Rob would always bring that up as well. So this guy's going to go down in Wheel of Fortune history. And I don't even know if he won. Like, I didn't even figure it out whether he won or not, but going to go down in history and one of the most viral, especially now with social media.
I wonder what Pat Sajak's going to do when he's gone from Wheel of Fortune.
Whatever the fuck he wants.
Yeah. Hey, what a life,
with
man.
the money that he has.
Oh
Jesus.
my God, the money's incredible. Have you ever seen Pat Sajak interviewed or when he's had a chance to really give his thoughts about something?
No.
I mean, the guy is really super smart.
I've not seen him in a single interview.
Yeah, when he gets a chance to opine on different subjects.
Ooh.
I mean, he is his way of thinking about stuff it's unique and his takes are really very sensible and very good, and he's very funny. I mean, the guy has just a killer sense of humor. And so I hope he starts putting himself out there a lot more than what he has. When he's done with Wheel of Fortune, I hope he does all the talk shows.
How old is he?
He's got to be pushing 70. Got to be.
If not more.
Maybe the Google will tell you how old he is.
I'm going to find out.
How old is Pat Sajak?
Because I'm curious, because let's see.
He's been doing Wheel of Fortune almost 50 fucking years.
Yeah. Let's see. 77.
77. Yeah, but Pat Sajak he's got a great sense of humor. As sharp as a tack. Very funny. And I hope we see a lot more of that when he's done hosting the wheel.
Let's roll into like one more kind of serious topic, and then we've got some other ones that are just like kind of just hot button shit. But this infuriates me, actually. So we missed it. I missed it last. I had it pulled up for our last podcast, and we just didn't have time for it. But the German government is softening its child pornography laws. And I'm pissed off that we didn't cover it because Drinker Bros covered it. And I'm like, fuck, we had it. We had it before they did, fuckers. But the German parliament took a major step in bolstering a pro-pedophilia credentials by lowering the criminal liability for possession of child pornography. Last week, the German parliamentary body advanced a bill that will reduce the possession of child pornography from a felony crime to a misdemeanor. Supporters of the bill claim that the legislation is necessary because minors could face felony charges for possession of pornographic images. So immediately when I read that, I'm like, all right, so you got high school kids that are fucking, taking willy pics or pussy pics and, pushing them out and whatever. A downgrade to a misdemeanor is also urgently required, which I like that terminology, in order to be able to respond appropriately and with the necessary flexibility to the large proportion of juvenile offenders. The legislation reads, here too, the perpetrators generally do not act in an order to be sexually aroused by the child pornography content, but rather out of a drive typical of the adolescent stage of development, such as naivety, curiosity, and thirst for adventure, or the desire to impress. But rather than simply address a specific matter in the legislation, the German government opted to reclassify the crime altogether for anyone, regardless of age. Jill and I were talking about this earlier. The effect will be that adults who possess child pornography will now be simply charged with a misdemeanor rather than felony treatment that they should receive, which I completely and utterly agree with. The law leaves in place a minimum of 1 year jail sentence for the crime, but it will have a devastating effect on the safety of children, as pedophiles who possess child pornography will likely face significantly shorter sentences than they otherwise would. So when you're talking about juveniles, I'm going to assume under 18, assuming everything's the same over there, and you've got two fucking 16, 17-year-olds fucking swapping pics and whatever, doing what they're doing. Completely different scenario than when you have a 60-year-old man soliciting pictures from a 14, 13, whatever age, under 18 girl. So this just, when I read it, I was like, am I fucking reading this right? If the German government was so concerned about juvenile offenders being caught up in a felony net of child pornography possession laws, it could have written a bill that specified that 2 minors who possess pornographic images of each other would face a misdemeanor charge, but instead it abandoned all sense of nuance and emboldened pedophiles. It's allowing it to happen. So I know you're not, but you're a dirty old man. You get the same treatment that a fucking junior in high school texting pictures with a sophomore in high school.
Yeah, that sends a signal to
what the fuck?
Every sick fuck out there who wants to engage in viewing child porn or creating child porn or swapping child porn. It's open season now. The whole idea that we as rational thinking adults are unable to distinguish between kids taking pictures of their junk and sending it to other kids and pedophiles and groomers who are victimizing kids by possessing and producing and swapping this kind of stuff. The notion that we can't determine and identify or differentiate between those two is complete crap.
That's what Joe and I were talking about earlier today.
Complete garbage.
I was reading her this article. She was asking, what we had on tap, and she goes, "Well, why lessen the penalty? But if you do get a juvenile, and let's just even say it's an 18-year-old dude with a 17. I mean, technically, you're an adult, but all of these things we know can be pulled apart. You have to look at you have to look at circumstances. So have the stern talking to and a little bit of a punishment, but for these sick adults that are doing this, and I don't know if this makes me weird or not, but there is nothing I love better than watching Chris Hansen come around a corner. And I've cold called him on Instagram because I want him on this podcast.
I love those shows.
Bad. I fucking love it. Hey, what are you doing? Oh, you brought pizza and condoms. What were you going to do? What were you planning on doing? I love watching the reaction of these sick fucking assholes. And then guy starts to stand up. Well, I'm going to need you to sit down. And his voice, he has just the coolest. He's calm, collected. I mean, he knows he's got like fucking 17 guys right around the corner.
He knows nothing's going to happen to him.
But when he's like, yeah, I'm going to need you to just go ahead and have a seat. We need to talk. Like, so what were you going to do? What was your plan? I was just going to have some pizza. Yeah. You fucking idiot.
Sure.
I love those fucking shows when these fucking assholes get fucking clinked up. You see him crying in the backseat of a fucking squad car. Fuck you. But the fact that the German government thinks that it's okay and that it's the same thing as high schoolers, I'll even venture to middle schoolers in this day and age, but that's the same as an adult, a grown adult going after, young kids.
Yeah.
Fuck you. What a dumb ass fucking legislation change.
Look, I don't think there's anyone out there who recommends that,
Falk around and find out that Candano be the next Chris Hansen. Dude.
I would love to do that.
Dude, we could set that up.
Well, there's a lot of work that goes into it ahead of time because
we could figure it out.
Because
we figured out how to do a goddamn podcast.
I know, but there's organizations out there whose task it is, and they make it their business to get into these. And I don't think I ever in my life have been in a chat room.
Give me your best. Give me your best voice walking in. Let's role play here real quick. You walking into a room. There's a pedophile piece of shit here.
Yeah.
We've got our decoy over here. She's getting ready to venture out, and you just walk in the room. What do you say?
Hey, bro, what's up?
That's how you start it?
Probably something like that. Hey, I know we haven't met. I'm Dan. What's your name? What's your name again?
I love
Yeah.
it. I fucking love it. Break the ice early.
Right.
Hey, bro. Hey, bro, what's up? I love when he walks
And then I would sort of, from there, I'd try to get a read on him. And if I had to be nasty right off the bat, I'd be super nasty. If not, then I'd be just like Chris Hansen and, just start talking because you want to, the stuff that they elicit. I remember one time I was watching that and the dude sat down and here comes Chris Hansen and the guy's looking at him like, oh man. And he says, what? He says, I thought it might be you. So even though
he's already seen it,
even though the guy has, and that's how, how long the show had been on and these pedophiles have been watching the show. And even though they knew that the likelihood that they were really talking to a 13 or a 14-year-old girl and she wanted to get busy with him, that they knew that that likelihood was remote in the extreme. They went through with it anyway, thinking that, you know what, this might be one of those setups from Chris Hansen. And they're driving there. This is going to tumbling around.
Sometimes fucking 6 hours.
And they went ahead and did it anyway.
I love it when they're like, I knew this was a trap.
All right, where's the cops? Go ahead, let's get it over with.
Oh, they're in the garage? Yeah, because I've watched your fucking episodes before.
But there's some other outfits that do this.
Falker outfit said, I need you to take a seat over there.
There's some other outfits that do this online. And it's very involved because, they get into these chat rooms and they record the entire conversation, every word that's said. And I love it when they start flipping through the pages and reading back to them what they said.
Oh, yeah. Here, hold on.
Yeah.
Flip.
What, you didn't want to engage in oral sex? No, I wasn't going to. Well, you said it right here on page 14.
See, right there, your voice right there sounded like it.
Page
14.
You said, I'm a master at oral sex. Have you ever had oral sex? And
it is.
So they go on and on and on.
So like I have, for me, like watching those, like I have this, I think it's fucking sick to watch it, but it's one of those that sucks you in because you're like, fuck you, dude. You're going to fucking jail. You piece of shit. So it's like, it's that juxtaposition of, fuck, should I be watching this? Like fucking child predator.
No, there is a very satisfying feeling of watching some creepy ass dude get what's coming to him.
Yeah.
And I think they don't actually air the episodes until after these guys go to court and after they're found guilty. So there's no question that they're guilty of what they did. Otherwise, I think you'd see their faces blurred out and all that, because at that point, look, it's the part of the justice system. You're still innocent until proven guilty. So you can't be out there saying this guy was contacting this girl and doing all this stuff. But if they're found guilty or they plead guilty in a court of law, then boom, that episode's going on the air. So a large portion of the legal process has already been gone through before these guys appear on air. But you talk about what's happening in here in Germany, and they're lessening the sentences for these crimes. This exact same kind of stuff has been going on in California for a long, long time now. And they have, on multiple occasions, lessened the sentence for statutory rape. All this, and they've made accommodations for all this transgender stuff. And they make it tons easier for pedophiles to have their way in the state of California. I mean, they're even talking about just straight out legalizing, all this man boy love stuff, and they're lowering the age at which kids can consent to sex. And I mean, I think in California it's down to like 12 or 11 or 12 or 13 years old now. I mean, it's just one crazy statute after another that they approve of.
Well, and what's even crazier, and I know you're not, like, I send you TikTok videos. I know you're not on TikTok, but
yeah,
the weird way the algorithm runs is because I follow Chris Hansen has a TikTok channel. So like he posts a bunch of, because he's starting to do it again. It's just not on mainstream.
Yeah.
So he's starting to do it, via the internet. But I follow like a couple different, it just clicked. But I love watching these fuckers, like when they walk into Walmart, guys in the fucking like stride right section, fucking old man section, guys, 65 years old. And this guy will walk up and be like, "Hey, oh, you getting the pedophile rights? Yeah, that's a good model right there. Just came out. Pedophile rights. Yeah, man." And a guy looks at him like, "Who the fuck are you? What are you talking about?" And they're like, "Hey, we want to go outside and talk to you."
Yeah.
We're not law enforcement. They put all that bullshit.
Right.
We're not law enforcement. We're videoing for your safety and ours. It's funny as shit to watch.
Boy,
I literally like just get sucked in. I'm like, scroll.
Yeah,
I want to watch another, because watching these pieces of shit get what they deserve. And there's always cops out, outside waiting.
Right.
They're like, "Hey, we'll bring them out. Yeah, we'll walk them out."
Yeah. I think so. I think a couple of guys that do that have law enforcement backgrounds too, so they're pretty good at handling these guys. But those shows and those things are so good, and I just wish I would love to see more of it. But I remember this one guy
Let's
got caught,
get them all off the fucking
and like, "Dude, you're married, aren't you?" "Yeah, I'm married." How many years? For 45 years. And the guy lived. I think the guy lived in Colorado, and they busted him in Texas somewhere. And they said,
I think I know exactly which one.
and then they said, "Hey, you want to call your wife and tell her what's going on before she sees this, or, so she hears it from you first?" And the guy's like, "Yeah, I guess I better." So they're recording him while he's talking to his wife. Hey, honey, where are you? "Well, I'm in the El Paso. El Paso? What are you doing in El Paso? You told me you were going to, a business meeting in Des Moines, Iowa, or something." "Well, I got something to tell you." "Oh, what's that?"
Weirdest thing happened, sweetheart.
"Yeah, I got busted trying to meet a 14-year-old girl."
Fucking morons, dude.
And the wife is just so sweet and innocent. She's like, "What? Wait." You could tell it was just not registering.
And meanwhile,
in her brain.
And meanwhile, and what I grab from most of these is it's almost I put it all almost on the same level as suicide, in the fact that it's affecting you, but it's affecting everybody around you even more. Because that net, when somebody gets accused of something like that, it reaches out further than what you're thinking. Because you're taking selfish needs, right? And that's the shame of all of it. Because, and I don't even care to say it, like I've dealt with I've dealt with some of this, and the fucking humiliation, whether it's true or not, the humiliation that everybody else has to deal with that's associated with you.
Oh, yeah.
Having to look people in the fucking eye and be like, "Dude, I didn't know."
Yeah.
I
You
had
work
no
with
idea.
that guy? You were buddies with that guy? That's your dad? I mean,
you have no idea. So like, that's where, just to pull it all back around, where I get satisfaction out of that is, fuck you, motherfucker. Try to take advantage of somebody. Luckily it was a decoy and not something, that was legit.
Yeah. But a lot of
you
times,
piece of shit.
A lot of the ones that I'm seeing now, though, are guys who are transvestites on top of it. And this one, they busted this dude at a McDonald's. And,
I saw that one.
Yeah, and that
guy's name's like Valdi or
I forget what the guy's name is, but he's obviously a dude dressed up as a woman, and then he starts going on and on talking about, "Well, I was just going to tell her how to protect herself. I was going to." I wasn't going to do anything.
No, we're thinking of a different one. But.
And again, they had the entire script. They had the entire conversation. They start reading back to him, all this salacious stuff that you said to this, what you thought was a 14-year-old girl. And it turns out it's, some bald-headed 45-year-old dude who's acting like a 14-year-old, and you think you're going to get your rocks off. I mean, I guess, I mean, if that's the sickness that you have, I guess the compulsion to act on that has got to be so overpowering and so strong that even though you know that it's probably not real, that it's probably not true,
and
you're compelled to act on it anyway and carry it out on the one in 100 million chance that you're the one who's not going to get caught this time.
Some of these guys are fucking military, law enforcement, fire, businessmen.
Well, some of them are fucking preachers, or
but you're gonna throw a whole pension, everything you've worked for,
your entire life is down
the fucking toilet. I mean, that I understand that urge, and that is a sickness. But guess what? There's places you can go to fucking fix that. We've got somebody to talk to you about whatever, right, wrong, or indifferent. But to wrap it all in, the fact that Germany is allowing this to be now just a misdemeanor, and this article said a year. Drinking Bros talked about it, and Dan mentioned like 3 months. But this article that I have currently is a year. A year of incarceration. Fuck you. A year doesn't equate.
No.
It doesn't equate with me.
And that's the thing. There are some people out there who again have this sickness, but yet they are now going to be able to game the system even that much more. Yeah. Right? They're going to be able to push it right up to the edge, or
exactly.
And
you need to separate. You need
all
to
that
separate
means
it.
Is that more innocent kids are going to get victimized.
Yep.
And when you talk about innocent kids, the gal that works with the Varner Foundation, her name is Evangeline. Have you met her before?
Yes,
man. This is I had her on my radio show the other day after I met her at the fundraiser for the Varner Foundation, and she does a lot of work with kids in Ohio that get trafficked, and there's a lot of it going on.
Yep.
In the state of Ohio, and not that the Varner Foundation does this sort of intervention or works with these kids directly, but indirectly because a lot of these kids have already gone through the foster care system, right? Because why are you in foster care? Because your mom and dad, your parents can't take care of you, and someone else has to. So when you help out the Varner Foundation, you also are indirectly helping out kids and helping to reduce that number of kids who wind up in sex trafficking and human trafficking, or sex slave trafficking, or forced labor trafficking, that sort of thing. You actually help reduce the number of good foster homes. There are, and I like to think that the number of foster parents who are in it for the right reasons far outweighs the ones who are in it for the wrong reasons.
Right.
And,
exactly.
Yeah. And so, when those people get in a financial pinch, that's where the Varner Foundation comes in, and the money doesn't go to the parents or to the guardians of these kids. It goes to, say, if you have a flat tire you need fixed, well, that money is going to go to the tire shop, and they're going to say, well, Jason's going to bring his car in, he's going to get a new tire. It's all been taken care of. That's the way the Varner Foundation works, and
they deal direct.
That's part of the reason they're able to not have any overhead, not have any expenses, and every dime that they collect goes right to the mission. They don't pay executive salaries. They don't, there's no one making money off of this. It is just a straight up charity that is helping some of these kids in very difficult situations, and that's part of the reason why we have been such strong supporters of the Varner Foundation, and that we're fortunate that they've been great supporters of the podcast. But after meeting Evangeline and finding out, she's the executive director of the Varner Foundation and other organizations that are all sort of intermeshed in that way. And so when I had her on the radio the other day, she was talking about, and that's sort of the way that her and Dan Varner got hooked up with each other, because the work that they do wound up overlapping, and he wanted to get involved, and he's like, how can I help? And then she brought this up to him that, these kids who, need foster care and good quality foster care. And that's where Dan decided he wanted to help out.
Yep.
So the Varner Foundation for Children and Families, varnerfoundation.org, and any donation will be gladly accepted.
It was, and it was, going to that event and being friends with Dan, I've heard a bunch about it, but like my line of work, I see this all the time.
I'll bet you do.
And it's just so neat to see, and how Dan breaks it down. Like here's how the process works. Somebody calls, we figure out what the need is. We have a quick phone call board meeting. And that's where he says, it can be solved in 24 hours. It's a phone call. You in. Yep. This seems to warrant the necessity. We have to do it. And where I work and seeing some of the conditions, and knowing that a buddy of ours rather, is doing these types of things and pushing for this. I can't even say how big a deal that is, because it was a great segue into that, publicizing Varner's Foundation, but we need more of that. We need more of that across the country, in the world. And when you have stupid laws like that, stupid shit being changed, because a lot of these kids are traumatized. They're all traumatized in one way, shape, or form.
Well,
may not be physically, maybe mentally, whatever. These people are here to help, and that's I absolutely stand on board with that all day long.
Yeah, you and I saw the movie Sound of Freedom, and
Yes.
That was
Yes.
eye-opening as to the extent. That deals with the issue on more of an international level, but it doesn't matter. The heart and the hurt and the harm that comes to these kids doesn't matter if it's international or happening in your state or crossing state lines or anything else. The trauma that these kids have gone through is just some of the words. And really, and that's why, when Rob was here, he used to make fun of me talking about pedophiles, or not pedophiles, but the transgenderism all the time and all that kind of stuff. And it's not that I'm against anyone who wants to be transgendered. It's when it affects the kids, and that's where I draw the line at all this stuff. Look, anyone that wants to go out and I don't know how many times we've said it on this program, Jason, that anyone who wants to go out and be gay or be transgender or be as freaky as you want to do what you do, all day long. That's what America is about to me.
Yeah.
I'll do what I want to do. Jason does what he wants to do. You do what you want to do.
Segue.
But when you get to the point where you start fucking with little kids, that's where I'm going to draw the line and saying that kind of shit's got to stop.
No excuse. Let's end it on an
awesome note.
Yes. You sent this to me and I watched. I didn't get to watch it right away, but then I watched it. I was like, what the fuck? So 2 things. I think it's awesome, but I think it's fucked up in the same right. So we're going to play this.
It's awesome because I'm looking at this. This is probably maybe a junior varsity girls softball game, maybe a varsity softball game. I don't know.
Yeah,
but for whatever reason, I don't know if the announcer had to catch a bus or do something, but the announcer wanted to dispense with the national anthem before the game, and the rest of the video pretty much speaks for itself.
Not be playing the national anthem. Let's play ball.
Love that the team rolled out.
Love when those kids come running back.
I fucking love that.
Doesn't get any better than that.
I don't know who even says that we're not doing a national anthem. Like where did that order come from?
But that's the beauty of America. These people were like, wait a minute. No national anthem? I don't think so. And they took it upon themselves to get it done.
And Joe's comment
was
when
fantastic.
she watched that, she goes, even though it's softball, it's not baseball, but it appeared to be softball.
Looked like a softball game.
Looks like a softball game. But she goes, no national anthem at America's pastime. Are you kidding me?
Yeah. Beautiful.
You're fucking with me, right? And I was like, no, watch it. But
yeah, we can't top that.
I mean, Memorial Day weekend.
That's what it's all about.
You're a piece of shit for whoever said that you're not playing a national anthem.
Yeah.
And guess what? The people spoke for them. They spoke for themselves. And
which is a good lesson to everybody else, because that, as an American, that's the kind of power you have. Someone says you're not singing the national anthem. You know what? I got First Amendment, pal. I want to sing the national anthem. I'm going to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And then took them a few seconds, but they all got on the same page eventually.
Right. It did take a minute.
The beginning was a little jumbled, but I think we all got the message, and that message came through loud and clear.
But I think that's a perfect way to end this Memorial Day weekend episode. Yep. We appreciate everybody being here.
Have a great weekend, everyone.
Everybody be safe. We will see you Tuesday.
I don't know, but
maybe.
And one thing I forgot to say during the course of the program, I saw a coupon popped up on my computer for Kroger.
Oh yeah,
T-bone $6.99 a pound.
Oh shit!
I might have to run and get a couple of those.
Oh shit! Well, grab me some.
All right,
Dano. I want 6 of them.
See you at the swim club.